Hello, everyone. Excuse me. I just want to talk a little bit, and I'm not sure about what, this and that. It's not for me to go and watch other videos and, because it a lot of times it genders strife, and questioning, and you have to, so much needs to be answered. And, and it interferes with what should be happening in my life, with what I should be giving daily. And I want to talk a little bit about what is true humility and humbleness. There's sometimes a lot more than what appears to be and how man see it. One way that you're humbled before man and bring humility on yourself, in a sense, is to have this work done in you. And it's kind of hard to explain. I'm not sure if I'm explaining it right. And actually, when those who are calling you the prideful one for what you speak, when it's actually them who are prideful for thinking yourself to be prideful or smarter or have more knowledge. The hardest thing is to come and to speak, because I know what's in the minds, is to speak what has been given to me. I know that it depends on, if you speak boldly, and then, they think yourself puffed up. Or if you speak a word of correction, they think yourself smart, that you think yourself smarter. That's the whole thing. It's nothing to do with me. There's a work that's been done in me. And I know, and when I say something like this, I know that few have had it done. That's why it's just now being spoken, and there's only few who are actually coming out and speaking. And it is through us who have had this work done in us that others are being strengthened, that others are being confirmed. I know the work that's happening today because it's happened in me. And yet you come in and try to share because you want, for those who can hear, for those who are able to receive. That's why you're here to speak these things. That's why this work has been done in you. But all those other who are contrary, they're not, they haven't had the work in them yet. Just like when I told of when I first opened the book many years ago. I think I kind of didn't start this right, but some things are very hard to explain. But when I opened the book years ago, and I never did finish telling, I was going to, because I noticed in the video I was going to tell what happened later, but I never did. But, I had went through the confusion where the church, I understand now it was the spirit in me, that love and that faith and that was already in me, and that truth that was in me, that was sown in me even as a child. That connection that I had with the Jesus of my understanding. I know not everyone has had that faith, and I know that faith that I had was for what I would be doing now today. And I don't know how many had been set aside, but it's all written in the book. Everything that's happened in me, everything that's taken place today was written in the scriptures. But so many have chosen to make the tree bad. I chose to make the tree good. I'm just going to speak, and because there's so much that needs to be said. And how when you come to speak the truth, that you are in a sense humbling and humiliating yourself, because you're going to be humbled by those who don't understand. There is no pride in myself, because everything I have, I've been given. It was ordained that I would be speaking these things today, just as was told to me when I first opened the book. And that's the thing, what the Spirit has done these years through the truth entering in. And I want to explain, because someone had said, brother had said, the Spirit is truth. And yes, and that's how I was purged. And I never looked at it until last night when I was watching your video and you had spoke of the Spirit being truth. But that truth enters in little by little. 2 years it took for, it's because I was filled with the falsehood. I was filled with the indoctrination. I had the word in me. But because of the confusion in me, and I had no soundness because of all the contradiction. And that's how my revelation began. One verse at a time began to light up in me. And when you said that yesterday, Spirit Truth, I thought that's exactly, oh, I've said it, it was truth entering. But I never realized, looked at it as that was actually the Spirit entering in, truth by truth. Purging out the falsehood. And see, and because some of us had to have this work, that's why I made my other channel, Early Girl First Fruit. It was considering my tomatoes, how they had grown so abundantly. And I thought, well, I'll just call my channel, because I know I am a first fruit. And and my fruit is ripe, and I've been sharing it. But there's so much I haven't shared because it's because because the humility, because of what would be spoken if I when I open my mouth, people think that I am boasting in myself, and then there's no boast in myself. This was done in me. That is the glory. That is Christ's word. That is being glorified in me. And this is a great work that has been done in me. And in whoever else this work is done in, and it will be done more and more. I know what's happening today. I don't come and speak my own mind. And when I do say something rashly or in haste, I probably shouldn't. When I'm not, if I am feeling rushed, or I should probably just keep my mouth closed. Because I made a comment yesterday that, and I still haven't, I don't have time to sit and just listen and reply to everything. I can only try to give a response. But truly, I don't normally reply unless I've heard and understood exactly what's being spoken. And I definitely don't when it comes to the Spirit. I have sat here these 4 years, and it was a great trial and a great endurance to go through the work of the Spirit. And because you don't, what I did 4 years ago, and then 2 years ago, and then another 2 years later, after all this work done, it makes you see more and more. So yes, I do see what very few see. And I've seen some things and understood some things that I'm not ready yet to speak. The scriptures are fulfilled in you. The heaven and scripture opens in you, revealing all things. There's moments of total clarity where you just, but because we are not capable of containing all. That's why each of us, we are being molded. And each of us, from inside out. And we're just part of a great work. And I am part of the finished work of salvation. It has to take place within. And there's some who are starting to hear. See, what happened with me, it was told to me long ago that it would happen with me. And it all has come to pass. And I want to get back to that. After going through religion, and them showing me a God I did not know, and all confusion, I lost connection with the God of my understanding, the God of my heart. And from that day, when I lost that connection, I had no life in me no more. It was, there was no joy left. It's just I've just been waiting my whole life. And then there came the point where I said, show me who you are. Teach me and I'll teach my children. They will teach their children. That was what my whole heart, soul, and mind cried out for. And I opened a book when I could barely even read and comprehend. I even learned how to read from the Bible, from the scriptures. Everything I know, I have learned from the scriptures and from the experience of my life and things that have been done in me and shown. But when, when I looked for others, when the book became alive, when I said it's alive, I understand now. It was because it was in me that I chose that. That's what I was looking for. That's what my heart desired. And that's why I heard the good news and the life in the book. Because everyone that opens the book will hear what they bring forth. And that's only from the translated text. I know what did not come through the translation. Not all. Because there's so much to it. That's why when I hear, that's what makes it, and it makes it hard for me, because I know what so many do not know is given to me to know. And when I say that, you think me proud. No, it's a work that's done in me. It's what has been given and shown to me. My eyes are open. And all this is done only that I can give and others can receive and the confirmation. I am part of the work, and a great work has been done in me to prepare me. Many speak wrong because they do not, and they have not had it. They are still full. The Spirit purged me first. 2 years, that great purging. In 4 years, I have left everything of my life. And now that the work, because I knew I had to allow this work to continue. And now I am, now that the work is done, I can only do and give what I can. But some things are hard because of what others will say and how others will receive. I understand the meaning of the scriptures. I understand the meaning of all these, because that all was revealed in me. It wasn't my work. It wasn't nothing of my own righteousness. Only that I believed. And I know that faith that I have that got me through, that was given. That was even ordained. But I do want to, I am who I am because this is what I was made to be. This is what I was set aside to be. And now, because of that wickedness and that was purged out of me, all I see is good. Because of the contrary, those things are of man and of that wicked mind that they had from the beginning. Or from wherever that was planted. Certain things I have not come to understand exactly how it all came about. I know in me I do, because it was all given to me. Sometimes it poured. If you haven't had those moments where you are poured, where you're even after these moments that you are, sometimes it takes 2 weeks for you to come back and start, because it was so much given. But each time that you go through the digestion, then you'd see more clearly and you would strengthen, and then more would begin to be given. You can't put into words what the Spirit has done in myself. It's not my work, and it's not my words that I speak. And that's humility and humbleness, when you have to come and have people point fingers at you, when all you do are bringing the truth, and they're pointing at you. Look at her, she's prideful. Look at her, blah, 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 blah. I know what the minds think out there. Because all these things have been shown to me, and I know what is in man. See, people say they believe, but when you see it happening, you deny it. I know the work has been finished in me, is being finished in me, and I don't know what's next. But I'm kind of getting off my thoughts. But one thing, I wanted to go back in, because I do want to kind of finish that, because when I had opened and no one was there, I looked for someone to understand, what I had heard in the book. It was as if, that message was for me. And you heard, and then it tells you, yeah, you're hearing us. It's those who are lost that's not hearing us. Yeah, we're speaking to you from the book. Or yeah, I'm speaking to you from the book. So I'm not going to go all into how it works, but because the truth is eternal. And that word, even through the corruption of the letter, which was part of the process of salvation, I know now I had to have that in me, that indoctrination in me, those words in me, all that in me. So when the truth entered, when the Spirit entered and gave me the truth to each one of these scriptures, then I was filled. The contradiction and lies and falsehood and darkness was put out of me, and in that place was left truth remaining. But it's because of the process that I went through. And now as I've said, even through that one book, which, and brother, you had said something about the man writing the book was more wiser. Actually, I don't believe they actually those translating definitely didn't understand. Because many things are wrong. It is in punctuation. There is much great error in punctuation. There is many things changed, many words. If they was even trying, the translators trying, they could have done a little better at translating what was in the Greek. Like you've heard, so much there's no word that, it's not easy to translate what is in the Greek to English. But that's all I've done in 2 years, been in that Greek, following the conversation because of what the Spirit had done to me the first 2 years, filling me with truth. Then I was able to follow the conversation of truth. And that's where I'm humbled, because if I speak these things, man will think me prideful. I'd be boasting of myself, and I am only boasting of what has been done for me, in me, and for us all. I'm only one little part of a great work of salvation. And I know, because I'm a part of it in what I'm speaking today, I had to see these things. That's why the work was done in me. I had to know what I'm speaking about. I know what it is to lay down your life. I knew then that was what my choice was when I first heard. I knew I was willing to die for what I heard many, many years ago. Because it was all good, and I wanted everyone to know the good. And that was the heart, and whether that heart was given to me, but that's the heart that the Father has to have to do the work, to finish the work. It can only be done in a true heart. One that doesn't take bribes, one that doesn't, follow contradiction and just believe man and follow after what man tells them. I have sat all that I have know in my whole life is from sitting alone, from not following after man, not being taught from man, from seeking out the truth for myself, and trusting that God would keep His word to me. And there's so much more to God. There's so much more. It's how everything's been worked through the word. That it was never a word of destruction as man sees it. It was a work of salvation through one being destroyed, and man does not understand what that means either. And it has to happen within. When the word of truth is spoken and enters in, then and it's happening in others, and they will begin their testimony. They will begin, and they already have, but this work will, now has the fire been kindled. Now the flame of Spirit. And it's going to consume all, and within all that receive, that are made able to receive. I don't know how everything will play out, but I know what is done in me and what's given to me. I had began a video. It ended up being, a little over 30 minutes long, and I wasn't sure what I was going to speak on. I was trying to, and I will explain the humbleness and humility, a little more. I'm going to add this to the end of, I'm splitting it in half. I decided it was too long. I want to try to split it in half a little bit. But I got to the point where, as you just saw, I was spoken of the fire of the Spirit, the fire kindled. See, it is man that looks for the things of the Spirit outwardly. And I will explain these more. I just want to add this little bit. You know, as you speak, that's, you know, more and more is given to you. And you see more and more. And so I wanted to add that is, you know, man look for the things of the Spirit outwardly. It is through the work that's been done in me. Now, that is how I understand the work of the Spirit, because it's been done in me. This is part of salvation. And you know, if a man look for, you know, the dross and the wood, where the scripture, where I'm just adding this quickly. I will go back, I will go into it more, but there's one, you know, where you say all the scripture is fulfilled within. And there you see how it's not what man looks for, because the Spirit works within. If you are trying to purge a lie, if you are trying to purify, that is what the fire of the Spirit does. It enters in the dross. It is the truth that enters in. And it is the Spirit in the truth, that fire that purges out the dross. All the rebel. That is what's purged from out of oneself. This is the work of Spirit. It is the carnal man that looks for what is spiritual, which happens within, to happen without. This is, you know, I wish I could think of the scripture, but I will go into it, you know. But, you know, I wouldn't have known these things lest it was first done in me. It was all that rebel, all that indoctrination, all that contradiction, all those things that I did not understand, for the confusion in me, the confusion of words, the confusion of voices. The lie itself becomes, the falsehood, all that becomes the kindling for the Spirit, for the fire. And it is the Spirit that consumes those from without of me, leaving truth only remaining, the one true God. It is a great and mighty work, and it is a work of salvation. And I'm going to try to, you know, I'll explain that more later. I hope it made sense. It's, you know, I'm just adding in here, but I'm going to try to, you know, look to the other half, because like I said, I had no idea what I was going to speak on, but I thought it would be good for me to add that here. And I do love you all. I'll be posting part 2. Many blessings to you.